Welcome everyone to In-Demand Jobs Week. It's Tuesday, May 4th, 2021, and we are now going to talk about healthcare careers, and I'm going to throw the mic to Tammy.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate it, and appreciate Jane and Chloe joining us this morning. We are super excited. We get this opportunity to kind of share a lot about the healthcare profession, and Jane and Chloe are going to do that for us, and we're going to just kind of throw some questions at you that are, kind of pertinent to obviously your career, but we want to highlight, what you are doing and kind of share that out with our friends and students and teachers and what have you. And looks like we've got Lloyd Stone. He's going to be joining us as well here coming up. So we're excited about that. So with that, I'm going to ask a few questions, and Jane, how about we start with you? And our first question is, what is your position and what do you do?
Okay, so I am a registered dietitian and a certified chef, and I work in corporate and community outreach in Kettering Health Network. So I work with individuals to be their trusted nutrition source for food and information. So I do counseling, I do a lot of teaching, presentations. I write for proposals and design different programs, do a lot of program development. But basically I teach nutrition science along with the art of food, hopefully empowering people towards healthier lifestyles, but it's a personalized service, what you can eat for balance and taste. So it's about the science of nutrition, but it's also about the beauty of food.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Chloe, how about you?
All right, so I'm a pharmacist in the intensive care unit within Grandview Hospital. And so I help manage some of the drug therapy regimens and medications that some of the sickest patients in the hospital are on, and kind of serve as a drug information resource. There's several different people that help take care of these sick patients. And so I'm kind of the drug resource when people have questions. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds exciting. Actually, it sounds both careers sounds very exciting. Lloyd Stone, how about you? What is your position and what do you do?
Oh, good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
we
sorry,
can.
I'm in transit right now with this weather. So I am a marketing specialist. So I work in the network marketing department. My primary responsibilities cover oncology, which includes mammography services, and then our Grandview Southview campuses. So my primary job function is for my service lines. I provide the marketing strategy. So that means when we have new services or new providers or new offerings, making sure that the public is aware of those. When we have a certain pushes, for example, we all know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, doing the marketing campaign around that, providing people with information as the importance of getting their mammogram. Anytime we have any events related to those service lines, doing that. And then the other part of my role on the facility side, like I said, I'm the marketing specialist for Grandview and Southview, is helping them with their strategies. So sometimes it falls into oncology, but if they have a heart push or something along another service line, making sure they're in contact with the right person and really project managing and then providing support services to our senior leadership on the campus.
Awesome. Just as kind of a follow-up question for you all, it seems as if you're very specialized in what you do. Can you kind of address that for the students and for the teachers, just to kind of think about, it's not just, I don't want to say just, but it's not doctors and nurses all the time. It's, there's a wide range of opportunities in the healthcare profession. Just kind of touch on that if you would.
So I will start and say, just in my field as a dietitian, that is a umbrella over many different things you can do. Within the health network, we have clinical dietitians that work in the hospitals or in the clinics and actually they assess patients and meet with them individually. There are also dietitians that work in the food service piece, so manage the food services. So So that's a part. There's also dietitians that do research, and there's dietitians that can do what I do, which is really like rather atypical, being in corporate and community outreach. I am not in a location per se. I'm out with corporations, companies, and or community organizations. So I meet with people. I personally meet with people with from all ages, grade school on up to seniors, basically helping them with their health needs to develop individual plans. So like we might go to a company and do what we call biometric screenings to assess the health of the employees there. And then I would meet with people individually, or I might go to another place and do a cooking demonstration. I might go and have a filmed video of a presentation, or I have had videos done in my kitchen for food techniques that are then put on TV or the public service channel. I write for weight loss programs. I'm developing a gardening program in an organization where we're going to garden, harvest the food, have a nutrition education piece, prepare the food, and then eat together. So there's just, so it's I just want folks to know that it's not dietitian. There are a lot of different facets, and it's wonderful because it caters to different people.
Awesome. How about you, Chloe?
All right. So within the pharmacy profession, there's also just like dietitians, a vast variety of what you can do with your degree. I think when most people think about pharmacists, they think about pharmacists in the community or retail setting at your Walgreens or CVS. But there's so much more that you can do with a pharmacy degree, and so much that you can specialize in. A lot of people don't realize that, if someone's hospitalized, there's a pharmacist that has to verify, check, and make every single drug that doctors order, checking it for safety, making sure we're using the right amount of drug, and that it's safe given the patient's labs and things like that. And within hospital pharmacy, there's people that work more in operations, kind of getting the drugs where they need to go in the hospital. And then there's pharmacists that are clinically specialized, like me, in specific areas. So I did special training in critical care to kind of equip me to take care of the critically ill population. But there's also people who specialize in things like infectious diseases for people who have infections, in transplant, in oncology. And then, in addition to working in hospitals and community pharmacies, there's plenty of pharmacists who are big into research and work for pharmaceutical companies and drug development. So there's really kind of an endless opportunities and different facets you can get into to see.
Absolutely. Thank you. How about you, Lloydstone?
It's being a recent college grad. It was one of those things where working in healthcare, you always think doctors, nurses, those are the only people there. But quickly, when I started working here, you learn that, someone's got to register you. Someone's got to make sure that all the orders are correct. Someone's got to build the buildings. Someone's got to maintain them. Someone has to build relationships with city officials and the governors and all the other people. There are just so many options. Somebody's got to hire people. Someone's got to, promote people. So working on the administrative side, there are so many opportunities. Like I have a background in marketing, but there's finance and accounting, and I think we focus so much on the health aspect, which is super important because that's what makes healthcare what it is. But it's at the end of the day, it's also a business. So all the things that you think of being in a normal business, we have in addition to the doctors and the nurses and the great people who provide care.
Very comprehensive. So describe, I think, Jane, you hit on this a little bit, but describe a typical day in your position.
So I will say well, let's start with today. So I have already worked on some program development for that gardening program I talked about. Then I'm meeting with, so that involves me designing the program, meeting with the folks, talking about hashing out the details. And then it's going to be a 5-month program that we're going to cover a different health issue each month. along with the gardening piece and then the culinary demonstration. And then, and then I'm meeting with you now, and then I will this afternoon be actually working on some PowerPoint developments for upcoming presentations, one on dispelling the myths in popular diets, and the other one, how to nourish yourself for good health. So that in itself involves the research piece, and then putting the PowerPoints together, and then actually executing them when they're done. And then we have some biometrics going on. So that's where we would go to the company and meet with people. And then I would do some counseling based on their height, weight, blood sugars, cholesterol profiles. So for me, literally every single day is kind of different. But that piece, I love the creativity of that. And I love being out of the box. I spent years working as a clinical dietitian, then as a research dietitian, and then also in community. So I've done a lot of different things, but it's nice to see how your profession can evolve and you can pursue really what your passion is. So what I'd say about my day, it is not typical, but that's good. That pleases me. So
I can tell that from the smile on your face. That's good. How about you, Chloe?
So my day is perhaps a little bit more structured than Jane's. Usually I get to the hospital pretty early in the morning, and usually the first couple hours of my day are spent kind of at a computer looking at patients' medications and labs. Oftentimes we're having to adjust the amount of medications we're giving to patients based on like how their kidneys and liver are clearing drug. And sometimes too, we're checking the level of blood, or the level of the drug in the blood, and adjusting based on that. So that's how a lot of my morning is spent. And then after that, I actually go and see all of the patients in the ICU with an interdisciplinary team. So, you know, on that team, there's several different types of doctors at different points in their training. And then there's an attending physician that oversees everything. But there's also nurse practitioners and the nurses that are taking care of patients, dietary, several different people involved in the care of the more complex patients. And then in the afternoons, that's a little less structured for me. You know, I'm serving as a drug resource up in the ICU, but I also help work on several quality improvement processes throughout the hospital. We spend a lot of time as pharmacists in the hospital kind of figuring out how we can make the electronic health record more usable for physicians and kind of push them to make the correct choices when it comes to prescribing medications. So being a network of hospitals, there are different ICU pharmacists across the whole region that I kind of work with to help make some of those improvements.
Wow, very valuable. How about you, Lloyd Stone? What's your typical day look like?
So my typical day is very atypical. So given the different things we do as a marketing department, my job varies a lot. A lot of the time it's supporting new initiatives. So as we have new doctors or services, or we expand to different areas, my job then becomes to work on all that marketing campaigns. So a lot of the time it's just helping either write copy for the creative, work with our design team to help create the creative, work with our agency to buy stuff, or then just also supporting our hospital admin. So for example, if they need, they want to do a thank you card for when we had Doctor's Day, you know, just working in to get them that card. So it's a lot of client relations, a lot of project management, and then just getting to have fun. And I always say I have the distinct privilege of all the hard work that Jane and Chloe and all the other people do. I get to share that story with the community. So really just communicating that out with everyone.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So we're talking obviously to parents and students and you know, and you know, our teachers and what have you. What, if you could share with them, what do you wish that you had known kind of back in your schooling days, just as a suggestion to them? What do you wish you had known then that you can share with them now, kind of in your profession, kind of what they need to be thinking about as they're interested in the healthcare field? What can you share in that area? Jane, you want to go
Want
first?
me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say, I think about back when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, which was a long time ago. But in my family, I lost my dad from a heart attack when I was 16 years old, and he was 46. That's quite impactful, I think, for your life. And it's interesting from there, because we didn't really know what caused his heart attack. It became known that it was a lipid problem, a cholesterol problem. So it's kind of like interesting how you take something from your childhood and that seed's planted, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not really sure what you're really going to do about it. But I always knew that science interested me a lot, the nutrition piece, the physical fitness piece. And so that all came together in college. But I will tell you also something that there's a lot that I really was unclear about when I started down this journey. But there's a lot of people, self-proclaimed nutritionists. Anybody can be a nutritionist. But what I really had to figure out is that it's a very different profession to become a dietitian, because you go through a very rigorous undergrad program and then extensive supervised programming. You do an internship. A lot of people pursue a master's, and then even become specialized as dietitians. So I guess what I would really say is that, a nutritionist, anybody can be self-proclaimed as that, but a dietitian is really somebody that has invested the time, the resources, has a passion for it, but also is exceedingly well educated to speak the science of nutrition and to empower people to take charge of their health. That's really, so I think that's kind of like something from your younger days that you're not really sure how it's all going to come together. But I say follow your passion, figure it out. And if you are truly doing something you love, it really is not like work, I think, and that's important to pursue that too. So
Absolutely. That's powerful. Thank you. How about you, Chloe?
Yeah, so I think something that I didn't really think about when I was younger that I'm now realizing has played a big role in my job satisfaction in the healthcare field is kind of continual learning. There are certain jobs out there that you kind of master a skill and you use that skill every day at work, but there's not a lot of room for growth always. But I feel like the healthcare field, there's constantly new studies coming out, and you're constantly having to do lifelong learning. And stimulating your mind like that continuously is something that's provided me great job satisfaction. And I'm kind of fresh out of my residency training right now, and I've jumped into my new role here, and I'm already training pharmacy residents and pharmacy students. So to see the growth within myself and the ongoing learning, and then also being able to already teach has provided me good job satisfaction, and it's not something I would have thought about before.
Awesome. Very good. How about you, Lloydstone?
One thing is I wish I had known now when I was going through school is the importance of picking something that interests you, that you're passionate about, but also that sets you up for long-term success. Because there are sometimes I would love to be a singer and a rapper, but I don't have the voice for it, unfortunately. But I do enjoy being creative. So, like having a business degree and then being in marketing where like I can still express that creativity in something that brings me value and brings the organization value. So I think just making sure, you do something that you thoroughly enjoy, but also that will set you up for success in the future. And then also just stepping outside of your comfort zone when it comes to like class selection. Like if something interests you or something you're not sure about, I feel like when you're young and you're in school, that's the perfect opportunity to try something out. take if you want to do a foreign language or a particular elective. I think it's great to broaden your horizons there because you're in a great environment where you have the option to do one of 30 different things. Once you start your career, you can make changes, but it's a lot more difficult. It's not just adding or dropping a class. It's making huge changes. So I think just doing things you're passionate about, and then also being willing to step outside of your comfort zone and try something new that you never thought, because it may bring you success.
Very good. Very great advice from all of you. Thank you so much. So we'll stick with you, Lloydstone, on this one. So why do you love your job and what makes healthcare so special?
One of the things I love about my job, especially working in marketing, is a lot of the times when people think about marketing, you think of like great Super Bowl commercials. So you think of like Pepsi and Doritos, or Budweiser, or different things. And it's cool to sell those, but at the end of the day, like Doritos, and I'm sure Jane can agree with this, Doritos probably aren't the best thing to eat, are they? Or Pepsi, so it's really cool to be able to share something that people actually need. And I think what makes working for the organization and specifically is that, at the heart of everything we do, we try to put our patients first, and we have that faith-based pride and just trying to, share the love of Christ and really push that forward. So it's really nice to be able to go out and tell people like, hey, we're here to help you. And it's also one of those services where it's like, no one goes to the emergency room for fun. It's no one wants to interact with healthcare, but I take pride in my job of knowing that, once again, we hope you don't break your foot, but if you do break your foot, we hope that you know where to go. You're going to be well taken care of. You're going to be communicated to clearly, and that the people helping you want to be there and they're going to do a great job. So that's what I really enjoy about my job. And then also that it changes all the time. And like I said, working specifically with the oncology service line, cancer is a very scary long-term illness, but just being able to know that, hey, we do things, for example, we provide free art classes and exercise therapy to all our patients. So just knowing like that the place I work for goes above and beyond to take care of their patients and being able to relay that information to the general public, it's a great feeling to do.
Very good. How about you, Chloe?
Yeah, so I think the cool part about the healthcare field is we come to work every day to help people. And I think that's really rewarding. And sometimes some of the stuff I do is a little bit more behind the scenes and patients don't realize what a pharmacist is doing, but getting the appreciation from the people that I'm working with day in and day out when they're stumped on medication questions is really great. And then seeing interventions translate into better outcomes for patients, certain things that we can do as a pharmacist can help, decrease adverse effects from drugs. We can decrease hospital and ICU lengths of stay. And so that's been really rewarding. And then as I was saying before too, being able to train younger people in the profession and watching them grow is something else that's really special about my job.
Very good. Very good. Definitely caring folks over there at Kettering, for sure. How about you, Jane?
So I will play off what Chloe said, that I feel like the reason I really love my job the most is because we have the ability to positively impact people, make their life better, trying to give them, new and helpful ways to look at things. I also will say, having worked several places in my career, that the faith-based approach is a very special thing to be able to be a part of. And the network that we're in, Kettering Health Network, is very collaborative. I was thinking about, Lloyd, how much our department relies on marketing. And so the collaborative approach is another reason I really like it. The support is amazing. Just within our department, everything we do requires everybody to come together, and everybody does it willingly. It's not like people are looking to slight their position. It's like, what can we do to make this better for the people that we are serving? So I think those are the things that really make me like my job within the network, but also, as I said, like being a dietitian and a chef. I think to be able to be proactive is a unique part of the department versus reactive. So we're trying to help people be well, which is, a different approach than some of the other parts of the network, but, very important too. So I think all those things tie into just being able to impact people's lives and make it better.
Awesome. Very good. Chloe, we're going to start with you with this question. So how did you get into the career, and what kind of advice that you could give to students, for their thinking as they're kind of going through courses and classes and thinking about either college or 2-year institutions or other opportunities? What are some things that you can suggest for them? But basically, how did you get into your career, and what are some of the things that you were thinking about that might be, an added value for the students?
Absolutely. So, I think how I kind of got into my field is I've kind of always excelled at and enjoyed math and science, even from middle school and high school and on. And so, healthcare was something that kind of fit the bill with my interests and things that I was doing well with. And then the other thing is I really wanted a career spent helping people, because I've always found that rewarding. I loved volunteering and things like that. Something that I would recommend is just to, explore different areas. Sometimes what you're good at isn't what you like, and that's okay, because you have plenty of time to master what you like. And that's, what college and your training is for. If you can have opportunities to do some job shadowing when you're young, that's something that I did. I job shadowed a couple of pharmacists when I was in high school, and that kind of helped interest me more in the field. But making sure that you seek out a variety of different opportunities. You start to get your first couple of jobs and things, try something new. And like they were saying previously too, trying some different classes while you're in high school and college, because you might find something that you were interested in that you didn't even realize.
Very good. Jane, how about you?
I will say that I think, as Chloe said, being very open-minded as you're thinking about your education. I think a lot of times as students get towards middle school, high school, they feel like they have to be very, very, very targeted focused. And I would say one of the things I think to keep in mind is that just broaden your horizons, try different things, because a lot can change from the point that you're 14 to 18, even to 20. And so I think it's really important to explore different things, keep your mind open. I think exploring the humanities along with math and science, technology, it's all a very important part of the package. I will say that just to play a little bit about how this all ties into being a dietitian, is people think it's just about, some people think it's like the food police, like, what are you going to take away from me? But it really is more about, you take science classes, interestingly enough, because you take accounting and marketing classes, you take the psychology classes, math. So it is a very diversified curriculum. So say, for example, you really don't know which way you want to go. That's why I say kind of approach the whole scheme of things, and then things will fall into place. And then the culinary piece, the food piece, food makes people happy. So that was like an addition to my career. After many, many years of just being a dietitian, I went to culinary school just to yet again gain new knowledge, figure out how to look at things differently. Food speaks to people. So if we can speak to people in a happy way, then I can get them to think about the science piece. So I say stay open-minded, take as many different things as you can. Job shadowing is good, talking to people, career days. Do as much as you can, because this is your time.
Great advice. Great advice. Lloyd Stone, how about you?
So my journey to healthcare was a little different. So when I went off to college, I was a pre-law business double major, quickly realized law wasn't for me. And then I got a little overwhelmed and I ended up dropping out of college temporarily. I was looking for a job and my best friend's parents, they're both physicians, and they're like, hey, we have someone going out on maternity leave. Do you want to work for us a couple months while you figure things out? I've moved back home, did that, ended up loving healthcare. And it's like the simple things, just like someone calls and isn't feeling well, you get them in for an appointment that day. And then when they're leaving, they're so grateful to you for, just doing your job. And it felt really good. So I ended up getting back into school, decided on marketing, and then worked at the doctor's office all 4 years while there. And then my senior year, I was looking for jobs and the job at Kettering came up. So I was like, well, I have 4 years of healthcare experience. I have a marketing degree. Why not? So I applied, got it, and I've been here for almost 4 years now. And it was kind of a roundabout way, but it's just really nice to work in a career where, at the end of the day, the people you work with, you're all here to help people. So that's how I ended up in healthcare. And then in terms of any advice for students, I think, like I said earlier, like keeping an open mind, trying new things, and I think just having goals. I think that's really important to have. And the goals don't need to be like super specific, but just like having something you're constantly working towards. And that's something that helps in my career even today is, it keeps you focused. It keeps you moving forward. It could be, let me select, do I want to do a 2-year program or a 4-year program? Or like, do I want to specialize in something specifically? But I think just always having a goal that you're working towards, it's always helped me and kept me focused. And then when you reach that goal, it feels amazing, whether that be completing a paper or finishing a semester or, graduating, and then you set your next goal. So I think having goals, working towards them, and just always striving to be the best version of yourself is the most important advice I could give someone.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. One final question, and you probably addressed it quite a bit, but what would be your final message to our students and our parents who are really thinking about healthcare? And, from your experience, maybe one final message to our friends that have an interest in healthcare. Jane?
I just have to go back to keep your eyes open, explore your passion, and gain as much knowledge, skills, and abilities that you can, and something will come together. I just think it's important to be open-minded is what I would say, and talk to people. I mean, I think you need to connect, talk to people, see what works for people, see what doesn't, take what you like, leave what you don't like, and it'll all work out. And as Lloyd said, if it's not the right path immediately, then so you segue somewhere, but it will all fall into place. But it just, and for some people it's very timely, and for some people it takes longer, but that's okay, and I think we evolve as we grow too. So I think that's important to remember, to just not be real closed-minded about it.
Very good. Chloe?
I would echo what Jane said. I mean, really taking this time when you're young to explore different things, like now is really the time. And, things in life, including career, don't always go exactly as planned, and that's okay. I think it's oftentimes for good reason, and things do work themselves out. And so maintaining an open mind throughout your education is really essential.
Awesome. Lloyd Stone?
Kind of what they said, just, keeping an open mind, and I think sometimes, like I said earlier, when we think of quote unquote the success in healthcare, there's always a clinical aspect to it. But everybody wants to be a doctor, hold doctors in super high regard, which they should. But also remember, someone's got to hire the doctor and someone has to pay the doctor. So hey, if I can afford to pay a doctor, I feel like I've made them life. So just if you're interested in healthcare and you have a clinical focus, that's awesome. But just there are a lot of other options in healthcare, and I think one thing that's really cool about healthcare is, especially given this past year, healthcare is always evolving and changing. Like we had on the drop of a dime had to figure out how to people can't come in. Can we do telehealth? do all these different things. So I think there's always opportunities, even like on a tech standpoint, IS and developing health chats and getting doctors up to speed on different things. So it's a really fun career. If you're passionate about caring about people and you want to do something where you feel like you're truly making a difference in someone's life, I think healthcare is a great option. And there are just a lot of different things you can do with it. So I say go for it.
Very good. Wow, we appreciate you so much. This has been absolutely amazing. We appreciate what you do in the trenches in healthcare and with each one of your designated areas. That is so special. And I'm going to kind of let Brian maybe share a thought or two. It's just been an amazing opportunity to meet you and talk with you and for you to share for our students and parents and teachers. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Brian, any final thoughts?
Just a big thank you from the ESC and Learn to Earn Dayton and all of our partners in the Greater Dayton Area Hospital Association and Kettering Health Network in general. This week is dedicated to exposing students to careers in healthcare and many of our other in-demand industries, and that there are more jobs in healthcare than just doctor and nurse. So really appreciative of you guys talking with the students today. And with that, we're going to end today's broadcast. Thanks, everyone. Hope we see you at some of our other panel discussions later this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So